Moms, Katie here with Live and Learn, and I am super, super excited about today's Live and Learn because I have Kami Kerby here of Kami and Larry Kerby, experts in love and logic. And I just have to tell you, Kami, I'm in love with the fact that you work with your husband. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So, okay, I love it too. What we are, I have to be careful from licensing of how I say it, but we are facilitators of the Love and Logic curricula.
Gotcha.
And it's been around for like 45 plus years. It's not new. I mean, a lot of teachers use it in their classroom. We work with teachers and educators and parents, foster parents. We work with a lot of people that are going through divorces to help mitigate things and blend new family units, things like that. So we love what we do, and I love that I work with my husband because there's a lot of times as women that we get really excited about these things and we're super invested, and we might want our husband to come along and like we drag them along. And then so many times I see women walk in super excited to our classes and the dude's just going like, I'm here. And then my husband, who's a 6'2" big man's man, comes in just hilarious, connects and relates with these men so well. And even in the women too, just love him, and he's funny, and we laugh. We just laugh and laugh and laugh, and we have fun and we learn skills. And ironically, these dudes that come in like, what are you getting us into? They leave and they come back super pumped, and they even a lot of times do better at implementing the things than the wives, because I think sometimes as wives we get in our own way, or moms, sometimes as moms we get in our own way because it's so hard not to take things personal, right? And when we're taking things personal, we're not always in the best parenting state of mind. So of course those are generalities, but it is really fun to watch the dynamics. I love having both partner perspective, so that's really, really fun.
So your husband does half of the presenting, majority of the presenting. Tell me a little bit about why do people follow you?
Okay, yeah. So, well, let me go all the way back to when we first started. I was the one that actually found Love and Logic. My background is in early childhood education and childhood development, and I was a preschool teacher for years. And in the classroom, I could have 23-year-olds eating just out of the palm of my hand and just totally have command of the room. And before I was a mom, I was totally one of those very judgmental, like, my kid will never do that, because I was with 3-year-olds all day and I could get them to behave. And, parents would drop them off going, I don't know how you did this all day. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is awesome. They're fun. They're amazing. You're blessed to have them, type of attitude. And then I had one. And he came to this earth. He rocked my world. And really the one thing that I had worked so hard for, to become an early childhood, studying early childhood development, and I just knew that this was the one thing in life I was going to rock. And I couldn't, it was so hard for me to bond from almost the womb. Like, he came out and he wouldn't feed, like he wouldn't nurse, and like crushed my hopes and like I couldn't. He was losing weight, and we had to. So anyway, this whole long journey of just frustrating in him, I took it so personal. And he has always been strong-willed, and we've always done this. And then when 11 months later, my second came along, totally planned. So I had an 11-month-old and a newborn, and it just got harder and harder. And they were good kids, but it was so unlike the classroom. And I felt like even though they were good kids, they were just tough, and they were strong-willed, and I wasn't prepared for what it looked like at home to be with them all the time. So anyways, making this a long story, but I went to a Love and Logic class, and I started hearing some of these skills, and I was like, it was like blowing my mind. I'm like, this is totally going to change our lives. As the presenter was talking, I was like having these epiphanies of how I could use it at home. And it was because I'd read so many books, and it's like theory. Oh, now I know exactly why my kid's doing things, but I still have no idea of what to do. Like, how many moms out there are like that? Like, I know all the reasons why they might be doing this, but I still don't have any words to say, or, I know all the things I shouldn't do, but please tell me something I can do that works. Right. And this was the first time that it just clicked so much for me. So I went home and it was like a 180. It really was. It was still hard, of course. It still took a lot of work and consistency. But as I implemented Love and Logic skills in my home, I was like, and I loved it so much that I went online and I bought all the materials I could get my hands on. And I eventually, by the end of the year, had become a full-fledged facilitator of the Love and Logic curricula. So I had bought and licensed the whole program. And my husband's like, what are we doing? And slowly, so that was 11 years ago. And slowly we have made this our full-time job. There are not a lot of, we had connections in the childcare arena, and my husband's master's degree is in business. Oh. So totally unrelated, but he got his master's degree. He actually ran a childcare facility. We ran it together. And so we had like 12 staff and we had like over 100 kids. And so we had all this experience, and we were doing trainings for other childcare type trainings. And this just fit so beautifully. And so as we started to use it with our own kids, we've started to go from the childcare arena to the home arena and working with parents. And I say, if my husband with a business degree background can become a master of these principles, anyone can. Like, I might have an early childhood background, and if you don't, that's okay. Like, my husband doesn't. Right. But these principles work whether you understand and have a background in this type of stuff or not. So it's kind of cool to have both. Someone with a background with it and someone with, background in business. Like, it's fun to see. So for we are the only Love and Logic facilitators in Arizona that do it full time. And we're also Gottman trained educators. So I don't know if you know Gottman, but it's another great, they have relationship and marriage curriculum. And so, the Gottman Institute. We can talk about that later, but we have lots of fun background to help enrich the whole family as an entire unit.
Oh, I love it. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I love that you work with your husband. I work with my husband too. My business is totally different than yours, but it's amazing what it does for the relationship, honestly. And I know that's a whole other topic too, but love what you're doing. And I love that you get to do it together, with your partner in life and partner in business. So that's super cool. You're going to be speaking at the upcoming MOMnation Market on Saturday.
Yes, I am so excited. There's going to be a Parent Palooza.
Yes.
And I have been so impressed by the caliber of all of the speakers that are going to be there. You guys, I feel like, have a gold mine of information for parents.
Totally agree, and I appreciate that. So specifically, what will you be talking about?
So, So one of the things that I love to talk to parents about is what in life can we control? And everyone knows that every sane person, I should say, understands that the only person in this life we can control is who?
Us.
Ourselves, right? This is us. But then we have kids, and magically that doesn't apply anymore. And the world, I feel like, sometimes tells us, if you think about it, if you don't have control of your kid, you're a bad parent. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of us feel that way when we go out in public, like, I feel mommy shame sometimes when it's like, my kids are acting out and I feel like I'm getting those stares of get control of your kid. When in reality, the only thing, we cannot control our children. And that is a hard reality, I feel like, for a lot of parents to accept. We do not get to control them. Mm-hmm. They are their own person. Mm-hmm. So what can we control? We can control ourselves, our actions, how we choose to respond. And the other powerful thing that we have control of is our child's environment. So as a responsible adult, those are the two things. We can control ourselves and we can manage our child's environment to set them up for success. But that's about it. Mm-hmm. And so, again, that's a lot of theory. What are the words to say? One of the things that I teach parents is how to create environments and plans where you can manage yourself better and manage your child's environment in a more effective way. Words to say, things to do. So I will be there. I will be talking about step by steps, what we can do to create those types of plans, words to say, things to do, that you could go home and start, maybe just pick one, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to start using it today. And it's an experiment. I love to tell parents, nobody knows your kids better than you. I can give you all the skills in the world, but at the end of the day, you are going to have the best ideas. You are going to have that inspiration of, okay, here's the principle. This is how she said it, and this is how it's going to fit my situation best, because no one knows your kid better than you do. So I like to empower parents to have faith in that and in themselves.
Oh, I love it. So in your 20-minute talk, you're going to be giving tools that parents can take home and use right away.
Right away. Yep.
Oh, thank you. I really the world needs more of you. Talk to me about enforceable statements. I feel like you were kind of touching on it just now. And before we got on the video, we talked a little bit about that, and I thought that was super powerful. So tell me just a little bit about that. What are they and why are they important?
What I love enforceable statements is because it gives you basically it's a way to say yes to your kid, or say no to your kid by saying yes to something else. So if you go into sales, all the time they talk about you say no to one thing by saying yes to something else. And people in communicating in the outside world really think about how we can communicate with people in more effective ways to really up the odds of compliance and really get people to listen and engage. But with our kids, we don't do that. A lot of times I feel like we just, no, I'm the mom, so when I say be quiet, you should be quiet. When in reality, when you say be quiet, or be quiet right now, or you're being too noisy, be quiet, none of those statements you can actually enforce, right? Mm-hmm. You can make them wish they were quiet, but you can't make a kid be quiet versus turning to your kid and say, hey, feel free to make all the noise you want outside. That's something you can enforce. If they still are noisy, feel free to stay in this room as long as you can be quiet. Mm-hmm. Where do we make noise? Outside, right? And so that is something, when you actually phrase things in a way, you're asking for the same thing. One is be quiet, but you can't put your money where your mouth is. So really it just makes you look weak. And your parent, as a kid, they know when you can actually enforce something and when you can't. But if you look at a kid with love and empathy and you say, oh man, this is such a bummer, you're going to have to go outside because you've already told them what you are willing to allow. This environment is for quiet voices. Outside is the environment for noisy voices, and you can enforce that. So it just becomes very powerful. Another enforceable statement that I love is feel free to talk to me as soon as your voice is as calm as mine. And I have to really get into like a Zen state when I say it, because one thing that we teach in Love and Logic is whatever is in your heart will spill over. So what would be the opposite of that? What would be the non-enforceable statement of what I just said about how you're going to talk to me?
Don't talk to me like that.
Don't talk to me like that. Right? How many times we want to shake up? Don't talk to me like that. Don't you dare. I am your mother.
I'm your mother.
I brought you into this world. Darn it, I can take you out. Right? Like that's what we want to say. Fantasize. But really, when we say an enforceable statement, that one in particular, it holds us accountable. Because I have to take a deep breath. I have to come from a place of love and empathy to be able to say, hey, feel free to talk to me as soon as your voice is as calm as mine. Mm-hmm. I could totally be like, feel free to talk to me as soon as your voice is as calm as mine. And they could be like, Mom, your voice isn't calm out. I know we have issues, right? Like it really, you have to take a deep breath. You have to stop and go, okay, I'm going to set the example. I am going to be the model adult here. Mm-hmm. Right? And then it also sets up boundaries of what you're willing to accept in your relationship. Because really what we are as parents is we're setting the stage and we're setting the example for how our kids are going to learn to treat other human beings and how they're going to learn to be in relationships with other human beings. Right.
It starts now. I truly believe that. Yes.
So don't we hope when our kid turns 16 or 14 or 13 or however young they start dating now, right? When they start dating, 40, right? Some of them, 40. So that's so many. Some of them, you know, when they start getting in the relationships and with friends, don't we hope that they know how to set boundaries like that?
Totally.
Wouldn't it be so cool if we heard our phone, if we heard our phone, if we heard our kids on the phone with a friend, or more like read their text, because I don't think they talk on the phone anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Let's say we're reading their texts, right? As a responsible mom would, by the way, read your kids' texts, right? So we're reading through their texts and they set a boundary and they say, hey, you know, you're not being very fun be around right now. If their friends being a punk and causing drama, like, hey, I'm happy to hang out with you when we can both have fun and not be so drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, that is a powerful thing for a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old to be able to say. And our kids need those kinds of skills to survive in the social media market. And where are they going to learn them from? They're going to learn them from us. Because if we just go around all day saying, don't you talk to me that way, don't you talk to me that way, wish, 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 that is totally a dream.
Mm-hmm.
We are in la la land if we think that they're going to listen. They're not. But they will listen to, like, oh man, yeah, feel free to talk to me that way in your room where I don't have to listen to it. Right? And then they can pop off in their room, and hey, if they do, great. Maybe that's the first time all day they've listened to you, right? And you don't have to listen to it. So I love what we teach. So to recap, an enforceable statement is, it's an I statement. It's telling what you are willing to do. They usually start out with feel free to. I am happy to. Hey, I am happy to let you go play with your friends as soon as the dishes are done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mom, this is so dumb. I know. And when can you go play with your friends? As soon as the dishes are done. Thanks for understanding. And you can walk away. That's something you can enforce, you know. They come home and the Xbox is gone. It's totally removed from the house. They're like, what's going on? Oh, man, feel free to have the Xbox again as soon as I can trust you to get all your things done, all your jobs done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we are telling them what we're willing to allow, and we can do it with love and empathy. And at first they do push back. But if we continue to show empathy, it's amazing the transformations. They start to get it. And they're like, okay, yeah, I get it. So anyways,
that is huge. When we talked about that, that really stuck for me. So I appreciate you sharing that. What's the Uh-Oh song?
Okay, so this is a really fun one, and this might be a hot topic. So in today's world, we hear a lot of people talk about natural consequences, right? Kids learn best from natural consequences. And when we talk about the word consequences, if we break it down into its Latin root, con means with, and sequence. So a consequence isn't a punishment. It's not punitive. It's something cause and effect. It's with sequence. So if you spill a glass of milk, it makes a mess. And with sequence, the consequence, you clean it up. But there doesn't need to be anger and emotion behind it. It's just, oh, you spilled it. Now you get to learn how to clean up a glass of milk, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we can detach from the anger, it goes from being punitive and punishing to learning and discipline. And like discipline is like discipleship, right? It's like love and nurture and growth. So we go from this pushing them into their brainstem punishment to, oh, let's flip it around and let's go to love and growth. And we're going to set up boundaries and teach you consequences in life and how to deal with them in a way that you can grow as a human. So that's a natural consequence. But then there's most people are on board with that. But then there's those times in life, like when my 7-month-old daughter, well, she's 3.5 now, but when she was 7 months old, she started to crawl. And what was the first thing that she crawled towards?
Something dangerous.
The light socket. Exactly. Something dangerous. She crawled towards the light socket, and she would find the craziest things to try to put in there, like a little staple, you know, those little things from the staple thing?
Yeah.
I don't even know how she'd like find those in the carpet or something. She'd like try, and that there is not a natural consequence that I am willing for her to live with right? So that would be a time when you would want to implement the uh-oh song. And what we say with the uh-oh song, you don't do it for everything, right? So if you're listening to this, just know this is not for everything. You pick one thing. Like we picked the light socket because that was the biggest, no natural consequence, and something that we really needed her to stop as something she was doing all the time. So what we did was every time she went for the light socket and got her finger up there, we'd say, uh-oh, this is so sad. And we'd scoop her up. And why do we sing? So that's literally what we teach parents. You sing it. And that's so important. You have to sing the uh-oh song. Uh-oh, this is so sad. Little bit of bedroom time coming up here. And I would go and I'd put her in her crib. And this is the point where people kind of freak out. Wait a minute, that's a timeout. We can't do timeouts, you know. But this is why we teach you to sing. So you sing, uh-oh, this is so sad. A little bit of bedroom time coming here. Because when you, this is a recovery period where you're setting boundaries. It's not a punitive timeout, sit in the corner with your nose on the wall. This is, you're taking a child with love, joy, and kindness and empathy to their room. And you're putting them somewhere to give them a boundary to say, this is a boundary I'm trying to set with you. And then, because how do we normally put a kid? What would you say the typical putting a kid in their room for a timeout would look like?
Kicking and screaming?
Yeah, and how do you look though? How do you look as a parent, or most parents might look?
Angry?
Yeah, like, don't do that! You can't touch it! You know, this was me pre-Love and Logic. My other son, he was also a light socket kid. I'd pick him up, don't you do that, that's so dangerous! And then I'd, put him in timeout. And that was the last thing that he heard from me. Whereas my daughter, I have the elements of bonding. Friendly eye contact, friendly voice, and physical touch. So I'm loving her up, I'm giving her lots of empathy, I'm letting her know it's not okay, and then I put her in her bed and I walk away. And I come back, I don't go to the local pub and have, I stay close.
Not hours here.
Yeah, I stay close by. We're talking like minutes. And I get her out. And when I got her out, this is another important thing. And this is the difference between like a typical timeout and an uh-oh song is when I get her out, what am I going to say? I'm not going to say, now, what did I tell you? Now, no, we don't touch the light sockets. No, I'm not going to say any of that. So I'm going to say, oh, I love you so much. Let's go play. And I'm not going to say a word. Because if you think about it, when you're boundary training a dog and you take them out of their kennel after they've peed on the floor, you don't have to explain to a dog why they were in there. You just take them out and you play catch and you hug them and you love them, At 6 months old, your child is smarter than the family dog. Kids are brilliant. These little kids are brilliant, and they will get it. When do they start to get it? When you are consistent. So when you consistently, so we put her right back by the light socket, and she crawled towards it again. Uh-oh, this is so sad. A little bit of bedroom time here, and we come and get her out. And something that's really important to know about the uh-oh song is when a child is not in their room, what should you be doing with your kid? You should be spending time to bond and connect. You should be spending time, we say 15 minutes a day at least of child-directed play. So you want to be down on their level with them. That doesn't mean like, oh, we need to read, so I'm going to read you a book. No, it's like, what do you want to do? You want to play with trucks? Your kid goes vroom, vroom, vroom with the truck. You go right there with them. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Your kid's playing with the babies. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. You're right there. Even if they don't have language yet, you're almost mimicking them and playing. When they play, you do what they do. And that is called child-directed play. So you're doing that. Another thing that you would never use the uh-oh song is when a basic human need is not being met. So if they're tired or they're hungry and I always tell parents, you always err on the side of caution, because this is not for when, a lot of times when we hear about timeouts getting a bad rep, it's because people are using them when basic human needs aren't being met, or people are overusing them. They're using them for every little thing. And I make sure parents know, like I said at the beginning, you pick one thing. just pick one thing that's really like, maybe they're a biter. Biting's a good one. Like, what's the natural consequence for biting? Or maybe they're a hitter. I know with my oldest song,
It was a song, maybe.
He got a song. My oldest son, he got the uh-oh song a lot because he was very, very physical with his younger brother. And that was so important for me that I set up boundaries that when you treat somebody else this way, you don't get to be around that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had to make sure that I was doing lots of things when things were going well to bond and connect and to teach him how to be around people. So we're not using the uh-oh song as an excuse not to get your kid to learn to integrate and be around people. But you teach them those skills when things are going well. You don't teach them those skills when they're in their brainstem. Because when my son was in his brainstem and he was beating on his brother, I could have used all the words in the world, and he's in his brainstem. That's like talking to a reptile. Mm-hmm. So my number one goal as a mom in that point is to take care of the kid being hit and make sure that they're safe. And then to help keep the hitter safe, set up a good boundary. And when they come out, when they're out of our brainstem, then we talk a lot about how do we be nice? How do we use soft hands? How do we talk to our friends? Let's practice. Let's practice giving hugs. Let's practice playing with blocks gently. And I'm using a lot of those words when they're out of their brainstem. So many times in the name of teaching kids to be socially integrated and get along, we use so many words when they're in a brainstem and their frontal cortex, where they think, learn, reason, love, is totally unavailable to them. And so the whole point of the uh-oh song is to really set a boundary, help a kid calm down. In the classroom, they call it recovery, which I really like. So you take a kid to recovery. And when a kid's in recovery, you give them tools. Like a lot of times I'll work with kids on different ways to breathe. I say, here are the birthday candles. You're going to breathe out the birthday candles. Ready, let's blow them out. Or we blow up a balloon. Let's blow up a balloon really big. You might teach them breathing techniques when things are going well. And if they're not calming down in their room, you go in there. You've already taught them breathing techniques. You might try some breathing techniques with them. You might do some other things. So anyways, I love using the uh-oh song because it's so effective, but I also want parents to know what the tool is actually for, mm-hmm. and that there's really great tools for them to have access to through our classes that will help them teach kids self-soothing, teach kids how to bond and connect with other people, and also teach you how to bond and connect with your kids. So it's really a whole thing, and I'm trying to shove information on you in 30 minutes. I've probably gone over my time. So anyways, yeah.
No, you're amazing. That was one of my favorite things that we had talked about prior to hopping on. Are there any particular questions that are pretty popular that you get a lot from parents about the uh-oh song? I mean, I know you covered some things like as in how to use it, how not to use it. What's the most important thing to remember?
I think if with any parenting technique or skill, whatever is in your heart is going to spill over. Probably number one question that we get is, if we take them to their room, I don't want to do that because I don't want them to have a negative association with their room. Mm. And my question to the parent is, what would cause that negative connection?
Right. That's a good question.
We are the thermometer in the home. So we are like the weather keeper in the home, right? If we take the kid to the room angry and frustrated and resentful and, we're really upset, that is our attitude toward their room is what's going to help them have their attitude toward their room. Like my daughter, we teach the uh-oh song, you need to set a timer. We usually think it's for the kid. In my experience, when I am calm, when I am peaceful, when I sing, uh-oh, this is so sad, little bit of bedroom time coming up here, and people feel cheesy doing that. But for reals, you can't yell when you're singing, right? Why do we teach you to sing? Because you can't yell, you can't be frustrated, you have to have your sing song.
Yeah.
So when, with all my kids, they have loved their room. My daughter, she at 6 months old would just sit there and play. She'd get upset for a little bit, but then she'd just play. And I really feel like when we take them with a calm and loving voice, when we are making that connection that your room is a calm and loving place to be.
Right.
And I can show you, like, it's really healthy for adults to learn to calm down and have a healthy, loving space to calm down. Mm-hmm. And now my kids, because we've established our rooms as a healthy, loving place to calm down, and it's not associated with shame or guilt or punishment. It's just, this is how we calm down when we're upset.
It's their recovery room.
Yeah. So when you can set it up that way, it becomes a place they choose to go. So a lot of times my daughter, when she'd get really upset and frustrated, she'd just go, oh, I'm going to my room. And she'd stop up to her room. And it was really, for me, I'm like, these are healthy skills for her to know, I'm going to go calm down. And then she'd come out so loving and so kind. And those are, you know, if only more adults had those kind of skills to, okay, I got to go calm down. I'm just going to take a few quick breaths in my room, and then I'm going to come out and try again. And I think sometimes, you know, timeouts get a bad rap because they don't have that component. They don't have that, you know what, we're setting this up not as shame and punishment, but this is a peaceful recovery zone where we can calm down and collect ourselves, where I'm safe. This is my safe zone. And when you set up a child's bedroom or room as a safe zone, they aren't going to have negative associations with it.
Right. That's us projecting that onto them.
Totally.
Oh, I love it. So where can our moms find you and your content?
So, okay, this is really exciting. We have a website, and it's parenting.rocks. So www.parenting.rocks.
Nice.
And I love it because parenting does rock most of the time. But we want you to feel like a parenting rock star. And what I was excited about is we have a deal. We have a code, and my husband made it this morning, so I'm going to get it if we can post it with this link.
Totally. Yep.
We have a code, and we normally don't offer. We do charge for our workshops, but the great thing about our workshops is once you pay once, you can come back to the classes as many times as you want.
Oh,
so we call it the all-you-can-eat buffet, you know, like, of classes. So you pay once, and then you just come back. And it's set up that they're Friday and Saturday courses. And this is the early childhood book. So you get a book as part of the tuition. And when you sign up for our classes, you don't have to pick a date. You don't need to know a date in advance, because we have ongoing classes, at least 8 opportunities a year for you to come to a class and take it. And so if you can't come this month, if not next month, you know, in a month or two, we're going to have another class out there for you to come to. And once you come once, you can come back. If you just need to come for an hour, you can shoot me an email and say, hey, I can only come for an hour this next Friday, but I really want to recap on the Uh-Oh song. Do you mind covering that? Or I really want to recap on something for sibling rivalry. Could you talk about that? And I make sure to cover it and take care of those people who have invested in the program. So we're going to have a code for the first 10 people that sign up, 50% off.
Oh, wow.
And so we don't offer, this is a special for MOMnation. We don't offer that. We do a lot of free introductions where people can come, and a lot of times at the introductions we'll give a discount, but we never do 50% off. That's especially for all our mamas at MOMnation.
Well,
so so for the first 10 people, and then we have, I think, 5 at 40%, and like, we have different ones. So there'll be a bunch of discounts. It's just that the first 10 get 50. So that's kind of fun.
Amazing. Yes. When we post this, you can feel free to comment that. The code once you have it, and then also please comment your upcoming workshops and like your, you know, the dates and everything, and where our moms can plug in.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we can post a free introduction too. If you just want to come and try it out for a free introduction, do it. And another thing I just want to plug in real quick. The tuition is for a couple, so you and your partner, it's for both of you. So it's
cool.
Tuition covers 2. So if you're like, well, my husband will never say yes, they'll never want to go to this, no big, or my partner doesn't want to go to this is not their thing, great. Find another friend to take, because this is something you need accountability for. We say this is the price, but you can bring somebody, because we want everyone to bring somebody, because this is something you can't do alone. You have to have a community or a partner or somebody to do it with you. It's just, parenting's too hard. Anything that you're going to do for real, you have to have someone to help hold you accountable, right?
Totally. That applies to all things.
Yes. So yeah.
Well, amazing. It was awesome spending a little bit of time with you. Thank you so much, Kami. I learned a ton. I'm sure our audience has learned a ton as well. Please, moms, don't forget to catch Kami absolutely free talk for 20 whole minutes. What time are you at on Saturday?
I'm at 9:30.
Oh, wow. So she's bright and early. So
get there bright and early.
Yes, get out there and see her. And that's at the MOMnation Market in Downtown Mesa. So that would be on Main and McDonald are the cross streets in Downtown Mesa. So catch Kami at 9:30. I will be there. Yes.
At 9 o'clock, I think they're doing car
seats.
Car seat safety. So make sure your car seat's all up to speed, and then come visit with me.
Exactly. She's exactly right. If you get there at 9, learn about the car seats, and our car seat expert is going to be checking installations all day.
That's cool.
Well, until 1 o'clock, until the market is over. But I think that is awesome. So, I mean, you know how they're all different these days, and they're kind of a little complex to install. So nice to have that. All right, Kami. Well, one more time, what's your phone number?
My phone number is 480-310-9122. That's
awesome. And people can just call, text, whatever, however you need to plug in with you.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. See you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.